The hall was darker than usual that night. Only a few lights were turned on, soft, pale lights that didn't warm the room, only revealed it. Rows of seats stretched into shadows, filled with people who had come expecting entertainment, not truth. They whispered among themselves, checked their phones, laughed quietly, unaware that something unforgettable was about to happen. From backstage, a boy stood alone. He wasn't famous. He wasn't confident. He wasn't dressed like someone meant to be remembered. His shirt was simple, slightly wrinkled. His shoes were old but clean, polished with effort rather than money. His hands trembled, not enough for others to notice, but enough for him to feel it in his bones. He closed his eyes and breathed. This wasn't just a stage. For him, this stage was a battlefield. Because this boy carried a voice the world had tried to silence. He remembered the first time someone laughed at his singing. He was 9 years old. It happened in a classroom with cracked walls and broken fans that barely moved the hot air. The teacher had asked students to share a talent. Some drew pictures. Some told jokes. When it was his turn, he stood up and said softly, "I can sing." The room exploded with laughter. "Sing," someone mocked. With that voice, another shouted. He sang anyway. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't trained. But it was honest. It came from a place deep inside him, a place shaped by empty plates, tired parents, and dreams whispered at night when electricity failed. The laughter didn't stop. That day, he learned his first lesson. Talent doesn't protect you from cruelty. Years passed. The boy grew older, but the world didn't grow kinder. He sang while walking to school. He sang while washing dishes. He sang while helping his mother count coins late at night, trying to decide whether food or electricity mattered more. His father worked long hours, returning home exhausted, hands rough from labor. When the boy sang quietly in the corner, his father would pause, listen, and smile. "Never stop," his father once said, "even if no one listens." That sentence became his shield. At school, teachers told him to focus on real work. Friends told him singing wouldn't feed him. Relatives said dreams were for rich children. Still, he sang, not because he believed he would succeed, but because silence hurt more. One night, everything changed. His father collapsed at work. No warning, no second chance. The house that once echoed with tired laughter became painfully quiet. The boy watched his mother age 10 years in 10 days. Responsibilities fell on his shoulders like stones. School became optional. Survival became necessary. And singing became a secret. He sang only at night now, when the world couldn't judge him. When tears mixed with melodies. When lyrics carried pain words couldn't. Music didn't fix his life, but it kept him alive. Years later, he heard about the audition. A talent show, a stage, a chance. People around him laughed again. People like us don't belong there. They want stars, not struggle. You'll embarrass yourself. He almost believed them, but then he remembered his father's voice. Never stop. So he walked into the audition hall with fear in his chest and hope barely breathing. When his turn came, the judge asked, "Why are you here?" He hesitated. Then he said the truth. "I don't want fame. I just want my voice to be heard, once." The room went silent. The music started. His voice shook at first, fragile, uncertain, like a candle in the wind. Some people exchanged looks. Someone sighed, unimpressed. Then something changed. The boy stopped trying to impress. He started telling his story. Every note carried hunger. Every lyric carried loss. Every breath carried survival. His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from truth. The room transformed. Phones were lowered. Eyes widened. Hearts leaned forward. By the time the final note faded, no one clapped immediately. Because some moments are too heavy for noise. Then one person stood. Then another. Then the entire hall rose. The boy stood frozen, unsure if it was real. Tears blurred the lights into stars. For the first time in his life, no one laughed. They listened. Backstage, he collapsed into tears, not of victory, but of release. Years of silence finally broke. That night, his performance spread across the internet. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. People saw themselves in him. Their pain, their ignored dreams, their quiet battles. Messages poured in. "You sang my story. You made me cry. You gave me courage." The boy didn't become rich overnight. He didn't become famous instantly. But something more important happened. He became heard. Today, he still sings. Sometimes on big stages. Sometimes in small rooms. Sometimes for millions. Sometimes for one broken soul scrolling late at night. He sings for the child who was laughed at. He sings for the father who believed. He sings for everyone told they were not enough. And every time his voice rises, it carries one message. Your story matters. Your pain has a sound. And even if the world is silent, sing anyway.